Hey friend, a quick update for you. My website is officially live. I'm so excited. You can check it out at reneematt.com. And my name is spelled a little bit different, so people get hung up on it sometimes, but it's Renae. And I'll make sure the link is in the show notes in case you need to just click that and get to the website. But this website is where you're going to find all the things that I talk about here on the podcast. Plus, I've officially opened the wait list for my upcoming course. So, if you've been wanting some extra support to finally get those 5 foundational routines working for real life, you'll definitely want to get on that list so that you are the first to know when doors open. The new website is going to be your go to spot to learn more about me, check out those resources I mentioned on the podcast, and get that support if you're ready to create routines and systems that actually work for real life. So when you're done listening, head to reneematt.com, take a look around, pop your name on that wait list. I cannot wait for you to see it. Have you ever thought about a budget routine and wondered whether it would be helpful or just more stressful? In our first years of marriage, my husband and I had been introduced to budgeting and had several people in our lives that were actually following Dave Ramsey's 7 Baby Steps program to help them get out of debt. And I always rejected the idea, thinking that we didn't have enough money to budget, it would be too restrictive, and it would just cause more stress trying to keep it all organized. My husband kind of felt the same way. However, we spent years avoiding budgeting until our finances had become so stressful that my husband just came to me one day after years and years of struggling. And he just looked at me and he was like, I think we need to try it. And for some reason, at that moment, like all of my worries and my combativeness to budgeting just went away and I agreed to try. And since then, we have been budgeting. So we started budgeting in March of 2018, very much in debt, but ready to dig ourselves out and try to grab hold of that financial freedom that we were hearing about. So we have learned a lot in the last 7 years of budgeting. And I want to share with you 4 simple reasons why I would recommend that everyone has a budget. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renee Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. It is pretty funny how much my outlook on a budget has changed over the last 7 years. I used to be so against it and I did not want to do it, but now I recommend it to absolutely anybody that will listen because it has changed our lives so much. I do not know where we would be if we had not started budgeting. And thankfully, we did have a lot of people in our lives that had been talking about budgeting. And then we had my sister and her husband were very much into budgeting and wanting to talk to people about it. So we ended up kind of using them a little bit as a mentor or as mentors to get out of debt and get our process going. And it has been such a game changer. Like, we just love having a budget and having a plan. So, if you are struggling with whether or not to try it, or you've struggled doing one in the past, like having a budget in the past, and you just haven't seen the benefit, I want to share with you 4 things about why you should have a budget. And if you struggled with a budget in the past, then maybe this will help you have a little bit of a different outlook on it so that it can be a benefit to you instead of a stressful thing for you. So, I want to just go through 4 simple reasons why you need a budget. Number one, it helps you understand where your money is going. There is nothing worse than getting your payday and then going through and having a couple of bills, getting through the weekend, and all of a sudden looking at it and saying, I have no idea where our money went, but we still have how many bills to pay. We only have this much left, and I don't know how we're going to cover it. That is very stressful, and it has happened to us way more times than I'd like to admit before we started budgeting. I don't even know how many times, like, this was a very, very common occurrence. It was just like, where on earth is our money going? Because is even if you think that you have a pretty good idea in your head about what you're spending your money on, there are things that happen that you kind of forget about, or you're not really keeping track of, or it's a subscription that you signed up for last year that is now renewing this year. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, where did that money go? And then you look back and you find where it went, and then it's like, well, I didn't even need that. So it's all this unnecessary stress about where your money is going, or you think that you're spending $400 on groceries when really you're spending $900 on groceries each month. Like, it really just helps you to define your plan so that you never have to wonder where your money is going again, because all you have to do is look at your budget and you know exactly where your money is going to be going and has been going, because everything is tracked. And it makes it so easy to review your finances and make changes on the fly because you know exactly where your money is going. And that, I think, is incredibly helpful to have that plan in place and to be able to know for sure where your money is going. Reason number 2 is that it helps you understand and focus your priorities. A lot of times we think about our finances, or we are looking at our lives and it's like, "Ah, I just wish I had the money to do that." And maybe it's traveling, maybe it's certain activities around your town, maybe it is just taking a couple days off that are paid and you can stay home and just relax. Like, whatever your priorities are, unless you have the financial freedom to be able to do that and you have the financial focus to be able to do that, then you're not going to be able to do those things stress free financially. So maybe you will take that vacation, but until you have a plan and you know where your money's going, it's and this isn't for everybody, but for most people, it would just go on a credit card. And then months later, you're still paying off that vacation that happened last year that you are still paying for, and now you can't save money for your next vacation because you're still paying for the last vacation. And we don't want that. We want you to be able to have the plan and be able to focus your money where your priorities are so that you can still enjoy those things. So if you have your budget and you know that traveling is a priority, then you can adjust the money in your budget to focus on traveling. And then if you are really wanting to do, fun little weekends around town, you can budget for that and you can have that plan ahead and be able to focus more of your money there. So maybe you spend less on groceries and like little shopping things and impulse purchases at home because you want your money to go towards these other things like the traveling or the weekends or the date nights and things like that, because that is your priority. Now, if that's not your priority and you would love to have like these gourmet meals and you want to experience different types of cooking, then maybe you have a bigger grocery budget because that's your priority. And that is something that you can adjust in your budget and have a plan for without making it stressful. If you have kids and you want your priority to be supporting them in sports, then you're probably going to have to cut back in other areas so that you can afford to put them into sports and do the any expenses that have or that are involved with sports, and that becomes the financial priority. So other things kind of need to be a little bit pulled back on. And that is just something that you can do when you are creating your budget plan. It's your budget. You get to decide how you're spending your money, and when you have a budget, you can actually see where your priorities are and if they align with your financial priorities. So if you have personal priorities that are not aligning with your financial priorities, then you need to make some adjustments to get those in line with each other. And that is only possible once you have your budget, because you need to map out your plan. It just gives you just such a sense of peace and purpose knowing that you have your budget set up to support the life that you want to be living. And number 3, it gives you freedom to spend. If you are trying to deal with finances. Whether you have a lot of money or you are just scraping by, having a budget allows you to have the plan. You know ahead of time that you are not going to be spending more than you're making. So when it does come time to spend, if you know that you have money set aside for this specific purchase, you don't have to feel guilty about going and making that purchase because you have already planned and prepared for it. And now it's just time to go out and make the purchase. It gives you so much freedom to be able to spend because you have already created the plan rather than having the money and then worrying about all of these little purchases that you might be making and wondering in the back of your mind, like, do I have enough for groceries? Do I have enough for the bills? Do I have enough for all of this? How much am I going to need this weekend for gas? Like all of these other little questions. You can look at your plan and you know exactly where you have assigned your money to be spent. And if it's been assigned to that category, then you're okay to make that purchase without any guilt. And it just gives you so much freedom. And that's where people say like that a budget is not restrictive. It actually gives you more freedom. And I 100% agree with this because you don't have to worry about it. You already have the plan in place and you just follow your own plan for your money. And number four, it helps you prepare for your future. And this is where you can get so granular with your budget and it becomes so cool because you can decide how you want to live financially. If you are in debt, you can adjust your budget, you can create your plan, you can focus your priorities on getting out of debt so that you have more of your income to freely spend how you choose because you don't owe anybody else money. And then you, in a sense, become your own bank because you can then, instead of putting money towards debt, you can put that extra money towards savings and sinking funds and retirement. And you can start building your wealth, even if it is small, even if it's just $10 a month, if it's $20 a month. You can start small and still make a difference. And when you get into this mode, it becomes really exciting and then you can start seeing more of that vision of being able to make these changes and have success with it. So I think that it is just super important for everybody to have a budget. Even if we don't have the same plans for our money, you having your own budget is going to give you a sense of peace and freedom that you never thought was possible with your own finances. We have to have a plan to spend less than we make. Otherwise, we're always going to be stressing because we're going to be building debt over and over and over. And we don't want to be doing that. So, giving ourselves a mapped out plan of how we want to spend our money and then moving forward with that and making sure that we are prepared for what we have ahead of us, or at least to the amount that we can be, is going to give you a sense of peace that you didn't think was possible. Because if something happens, like if you have an accident that you need to take some time off work, it's going to be okay because you have financially prepared yourself because you've been budgeting and planning ahead. If you have a job loss and you're out of work for a month or two, you will be okay and you don't have to stress about it because you've got that emergency backup plan and you've got an emergency fund set aside with 3 to 6 months of expenses because you've been working those baby steps with if you're planning to do the Dave Ramsey plan or if you're doing other steps, you are already preparing ahead of time. So I don't want to get too far into the weeds because if you are new to budgeting, that might sound like a lot and it's like that is totally unattainable and so far out of reach because of our finances in our current situation, but I want to encourage you that I have been there and we have felt those same stresses. We were very much in debt. We were very much frustrated with our finances. I cried every single time we had to do bills because we just didn't have the money and it was so incredibly stressful for years in our marriage. I think it was 9 years that we were married before we started our budget, and now we have been budgeting for 7 years, and I cannot tell you how thankful and how blessed I feel that we started budgeting when we did. I wish we would have started earlier, I really do, but it did take us time to be able to be open enough to it. And once we started, it's like we are not going back. We have been able to make so much progress. And we, even when we started making hardly any money, our income was very, very low. And we were still able to pay off all of our debt in less than 2 years. And it's because we had a plan, we mapped it all out, and we stuck together and we followed the plan and we did it together. We did it as a team and we made progress. And then we no longer had to put money towards debt. We were able to turn that around and put it towards us and our future. And we were able to give more and be able to build our retirement and start focusing on building that emergency fund. And we have completely changed around our finances. And we are in a very different state today as we were 7 years ago when we started budgeting. And obviously, 7 years of time, that does change. But if we hadn't started budgeting, I know that we would still be feeling the same way because if you make more, you just spend more. And unless you have a plan, you're always going to feel the same habits, whether you are completely broke or you are making a ton of money. You are not going to feel the freedom unless you know where your money's going, you have your plan, and you know exactly what your priorities are for your money. So, I will quickly recap for you those 4 reasons, in my personal opinion, of why I think you need a budget and why I think everybody needs a budget is number one, helps you understand where your money is going. You need to have that plan. Reason number two, it helps you understand and focus your priorities. Are your financial priorities matching up and aligning with your personal priorities? Reason number three, gives you freedom to spend. You don't have to feel guilty if you have it planned out. Number four is it helps you prepare for your future. So those are my personal opinion. I think that budget is absolutely necessary for everybody. If you are making money, you should have a budget just because I feel so passionately about it because it has changed our life so much. And I hope that you can feel this same way and that it blesses you as much as it has for my husband and me. I just think that it is so incredibly important and it can make a huge difference in your stress levels and how you feel about everything moving forward in life. Like, if you have any struggles or stress financially, a budget is going to help. I promise. So, if you need help getting started, I do have a couple of episodes that you can go back and listen to. Number 7 is helping you build your base budget. And then episode 16 helps you to look at what to do with it once you've created your budget. Now, like what to do with it. So, these are the two episodes that will help you get started if you're looking for podcast episodes to help. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more of a visual and hands-on and be able to actually like walk through building a budget and you want some assistance with this because you want to have those visuals and you want to have the tools that my husband and I use, I actually do have it available in my upcoming course. So, my course is going to be released hopefully very soon. We're getting so close to the end. I cannot believe how many steps there are in building a course, but we are getting closer. So I can assure you of that. And I have an entire module on budgeting and also offering a budget system. This is the spreadsheet that my husband and I use. It is absolutely amazing. And I have everything that I need to budget in this spreadsheet. It's everything we needed. If you want to get your hands on that, it is only available in the course once it releases. So if you are interested in learning more about the course or just being aware when it does release and when the beta launches and when the full course launches, if you just want to be in the know, you want to get on that wait list. So go to reneematt.com and get on that wait list, and then you will be one of the first to hear when there is more information about the course being released. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I will catch you back here on the next episode. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life.
The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.